Welcome to Fan Sports Preview, brought to you in part by Fans for Fans. On my right is Jamal Cooper, who will be providing color commentary and serve as co-host. And then to my left is Anthony, can't get right, Edwards. Anthony is also providing color commentary as well for the show. I'm serving in for Dwayne Wingfield. He's on assignment in Birmingham covering the Magic City Classic. The Classic is held Alabama State versus Alabama A&M. I know normally we don't talk about a game that's upcoming, but right now we're going to talk about that particular game. Coop has a very different perspective on that because he actually played for Alabama State. What's your thoughts on this weekend's game for the Magic City Classic?
Man, I'm pulling for, of course, ASU. I think it will be a very good game, a defensive game. And hopefully Coach Eddie Robinson and ASU wants to put it out in the end.
So you pulling for Alabama State?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Go on.
Anthony, what's your thoughts?
Oh, I'm kind of torn. Grew up in Montgomery, wanted to go to A&M, thinking A&M going to pull it off.
Oh, it's a little different. Well, you know I'm not a fan of Alabama State. I respect the program, respect the students. I just have a problem with the overall Alabama State concept. I'm going with Alabama A&M this weekend. I think they're going to put a brutal beating on Alabama State. I think this is definitely going to be a Magic City Classic. You know, tonight is actually Dr. Quentin Ross's birthday party tonight from 9 to 1 in Birmingham. So if you are interested in attending his party, he's going to need it. Because he ain't gonna celebrate on Saturday.
No,
And believe it or not, my good friend Stephen A. Smith is going to be hosting there for his party tonight. He's going to provide some hope for this weekend's Magic City Classic to Dr. Quentin Ross. So good luck. Again, Alabama and A&M, go.
Go for it, dog.
You know, last week was a very interesting week for college football. We had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of teams that we pulled for that we thought was going to kick butt because of their program. They actually shocked us. Let's start out with Clemson versus Miami.
That was the one that shocked me. I picked Clemson because for the past 10 years, they've been Clemson. They've been a top program. Oh, they were getting blistered by Miami.
Yeah.
Came back into the game and then got blistered in the overtime. It's going to be hard for me to pick Clemson for anything now.
What's your thoughts on that?
Man, all of us, we looking at the old Clemson, but I think that we give Miami enough credit because of how they lost that fluke away to Georgia Tech.
Right.
Fumbling the ball instead of hitting the ball.
Exactly.
But if you look at it, Miami is just better, but I think people just were down on it because of that Georgia Tech loss. So a lot of us picked Clemson, thought we were going to see the Clemson old, but I actually think the correct team won the game. They
You know what? I like your perspective on it. We're focused on Clemson doing it Alabama hated.
Exactly.
The Ohio State hated.
Exactly.
This is a new era for Clemson.
Yep.
After that big, massive loss of players going into the NFL, this is what Clemson has to deal with now. They're just a regular team.
I know. I see this too. Like, I think it's a new norm for them. I think the days of Trevor Lawrence and
Right.
Deshaun Watson. I think those days. So
That's true because NIL wasn't around during that time, so they're going to have a hard time recruiting to that particular program. But I think you're right. Miami, they look good. They look like Miami has been coming up over the few years. So this might be their time. I think you're right. I know we can't get much information out of you, but what's your thought on
I thought when I look at Miami, the only problem with Miami is there are certain issues that go on during the game. I think it's just Coach Cristobal is a new coach. He's only been coaching for a few years, but I think that certain things like clock management of the game, those are issues that Miami keeps having.
it?
Talent, like Coop said, is not their problem. It's certain things that are done during the game that make it hard for me to believe in Miami. Like not downing the ball or not using up the clock. or not punting when you're supposed to punt with 2 minutes to go in the game.
Now, Coop, I'm about to do something. I want to see if you recall this movie. You come in my house and use words like down in the ball, playing correctly, execution. What's your problem? That's going into Auburn. Huh? You remember that scene from Denzel Washington and what's my boy? Jesus Christ. And he went in the club.
Yeah.
That's what you made me feel like right now. How dare you? Who is he to talk about execution?
That can't
Make
get
it back. Watch this. Coaching, not making great decisions. Are you serious?
Hey, if you want me to talk about that,
Let's go on. That's it. He segued in. They were last on my list. You segued into Auburn
you want me to
versus
talk
Ole
about
Miss.
that? The first half, defense played lights out football. Third quarter, defense still playing lights out football. You go on a drive, you got a chance to take the lead. Third 3. Robbie Ashford gets taken out the game. You throw a double pass. Why? You got a kicker that can kick the ball 55 yards. You're 4 yards out of field goal range. Why don't you go for it, run the football, get 2 downs to get 3 yards? You can't do that.
So who do you think is making the calls? Is it Hugh Freeze or is it his offensive coordinator?
Man, I think it's too free because, like, I believe if I hire you, you're an offensive genius. I need my offense to be good.
Yeah.
And so, like I tell King Get Right all the time, their problem, they don't have a quarterback. And that is all the problem. They can't throw the ball. They can't do nothing but run. And, you know, teams start figuring it out. I put 8 men, 9 men in the box. When you're not going to throw the ball over my head, you ain't going to beat nobody like that.
Yeah.
And so they're going to always come up short. They got a pretty good defense, but the defense only going to hold up for so long. And then they're going to break.
You know, I got to give my hats off to their defense. Ashanti is one hell of a defensive player.
Yes.
Excellent player. My hats off to the whole entire Auburn defensive team. They played their game, and one thing I can say, stamina caught up with them. Being out there for so long caught up with them, and they just couldn't take it over the hill because of the lack of performance the offense had. So, again, Auburn got a lot to do. You know what really angers me about your coach? See, because you claim you Auburn. There's a guy that has really no athletic skills whatsoever, but he claimed an Auburn fan. He claimed to be he is their #1 fan. They don't know it, but he is. But every week, Coach Hughes get up to the podium, and he comes up with excuses or, you know what thing? I take the blame. I take the blame. I did this. Dude, then change it.
Well, if you want,
How many times are we gonna take the blame?
if you want to make the offense better, let's stop putting #1 in the game. It comes a time when a player is too frustrated or he can't get out of his own way, when you need to put him on the bench for a little while and let him see the game from the bench. And maybe watching the game from the bench will help him play better when he gets back into the game. You can't keep pulling him out, putting him back in, pulling him out, putting him back in. If he's frustrated, the guy told you this week, I'm frustrated.
Now, don't it look like when he's in the game, it's a run? When the other quarterback comes in, it's a pass.
Well,
So it's almost like you're telegraphing what you're going to do.
Well, with Ashford is so dynamic. The defense can't key on the running back. Peyton Thorne, you know if he's gonna run the ball, he's handing it to the running back, or he's gonna run, but he's not as fast as Ashford. So you don't want to get in the foot race with Ashford.
Right.
So you want to keep an eye on Ashford. So if Ashford hands to the running back can actually get some yards. Peyton Thorne's in the game, the running back can't get no yards because they're gonna key on the running back. And they're not looking for him to pass the ball because he can't throw the ball down the field.
Right. You know, aside from that, Auburn, Clemson, and don't get me wrong, I picked Ole Miss. So I really ain't got nothing, no dog in the pony. The team I picked won. However, when I tell you we had some upsets, now I got on you. But Jesus Christ. You know what really angers me though, Coop, and we've talked about this, and where broadcasters, and I'm talking about you, Stephen A., and I'm talking about Shannon Sharp and all the other commentators at the beginning of the season, they use terms or phrases like Heisman candidate, greatest quarterback because he won last year. He's going to be doing some things because he's got the vision, because he was a Heisman
Candidate.
winner. Caleb Williams played poorly.
Yeah.
USC overall played poor. For a quarterback to be the leader of the team, I've always been different about quarterbacks being a leader. I'm a fan that linebackers are leaders. They set the tone. Everybody else follow, but that's different. That's a different era. But Caleb showed on the field, during the game, quit, failure, defeat. I mean, you are a heavy, die-hard USC fan. You went from one end of the spectrum of the United States, coming from Boston, Massachusetts. And again, you know, I say that before we go any further, I want to send a shout out to those families that were lost in the massive incident last night. There was a massive shooting in Maine, and our condolences goes out to the family. But picking up where we left off, from Boston, Massachusetts to USC, how does it feel to sit there and watch the team you love, root for, you give them your heart, and they perform like suckers?
Man, you know, it's I think the expectation was too high for USC being a real fan, because like you said, we got Caleb Williams back, finished the season on a high note.
Right.
But man, our defense has been bad for so long that, man, it's really gonna take Lincoln Riley like 3 or 4 years to turn the roster over where we can really have a shot for real.
Right.
Like I said, everybody got the spotlight on him because of Caleb.
True.
And like I said, man, he like really a one-man show.
Yeah.
So if he ain't playing good, the team we ain't gonna be good.
Yeah.
If we ain't scoring, our defense ain't stopping nobody.
Right.
And so as a fan, man, sometimes you gotta step back and be like, man, he really just got there last year, Lincoln Riley. You gotta turn the roster over. Go ahead, Clay Hellman was trash. And so, man, it won't really be by year 3 or 4, but Caleb Williams sped up that process by being so good. Now people expect more out of USC than they should.
True.
And so I think that's really what's happening. So, you have to sit down and just look at it and just think about it.
What's USC record right now?
6-2.
And that's decent.
Oh yeah, and honestly,
That's
I
decent.
say the end of the year 8-4, 9-4.
And that's still a decent record.
Yeah, we ain't strong enough to beat Oregon, we ain't strong enough to beat Washington, but we got that star Caleb Williams and the star Lincoln Riley. Everybody expected him just to wave a magic wand and win the championship. It ain't gonna work like that.
Now here's your opportunity to get back at it.
Well, the narrative, the national narrative on Lincoln Riley is a little bit different. Coop says that Lincoln Riley's going to turn the roster around. I got some people out in Oklahoma that say Lincoln Riley's only going to turn one side of the roster around, which is the side that you see now, that offensive side. They said that what you see right now is what you need to expect. You're going to see a strong offense, no defense. That's what follows Lincoln Riley.
What do you think?
But to their defense, Lincoln Riley took Oklahoma to the playoff like 3 years.
And they got beat like a drum, but they didn't have no defense.
But they lost to Georgia, and Georgia won the championship, and he lost to LSU. LSU
Come on, man, that's SEC team. You taking the back team.
But you playing in a tournament. You playing in a conference that it was a joke when Oklahoma won. When Oklahoma won that conference was a joke. We all know that.
People always say that
Texas hadn't won in 15 years. You had TCU.
They supposed to play defense, but look at the numbers in the SEC. People scoring 30 or 40 points. And Bama and Georgia.
We're going to get there.
Yeah, Bama and Georgia top dog, but the team from the Big 12 beat Bama this year, which is Bama only loss.
Yeah.
That's this year. That's not every year.
Well, we're going to catch up.
I would take Lincoln Riley over that guy that they got down there Auburn on the sideline every day of the week.
You know, looking at the game, I watched it in its entirety, but I was really frustrated because they gave up. And you can see it. No matter how many mistakes are made, they gave up and it was in their faces. And they seen it.
And that's the frustrating thing about it. Like we had 3rd and 27 and you give up like 25 yards on a quarterback scramble. That's a backbreaker, man.
And don't get me wrong, Utah is a they're a decent football team. They have impressed me the last few years with the way they've made great transition in the program year after year. They look for those weaknesses, look at best practices, and they capitalize on it. And they're looking good. They beat some teams that we wouldn't expect them to beat this year. USC being one.
The thing about Utah, they ain't gonna beat themselves. You gotta beat those guys.
You gotta beat them.
You gotta beat them.
You remember where Utah first upset was, right?
Refresh my memory.
Alabama. You don't remember that?
Man, he
Man,
gonna
no.
Way back to the start of the coach's career. The first upset was Alabama. I know you remember that, man. I know you remember that.
I apologize for this. I understand this fan's perspective, but Jesus
I
Christ.
know you remember that beat.
Arkansas and Mississippi State.
Man, the tale of two jokes. It was. I didn't know which one was funny. It was hilarious. It was like, wow, we're gonna get some offense somewhere.
Yeah.
But you know what though? I give Mississippi State credit. And they coach died on the players, and so man, they got basically a new program.
True.
But Arkansas don't got no excuse. They done had KJ Jefferson for like 3 years, and then they going back, but they shocked everybody that first year.
They shocked everybody last year.
And you know, this year, man,
They look like a joke.
Yep, and I'm through picking Arkansas. I'd never pick them again.
You know, this goes into my. I'm a diehard Alabama fan. WTLS is one of the premier radio stations to cover Alabama. So, but I'm disappointed. Yeah, we won. But when you have standards, and you've set standards across the whole entire league in college football, and you show up and allow Tennessee to sit up here and score as many points and to hold you down to the halftime, I got problems with that. There's no excuse. Yeah, we won, but I'm not happy.
You're in a different time.
I'm happy because I didn't lose a cigar. I'm happy because the guys can't talk trash to me like Bruce, who's a diehard fan, dressed every day in them. He sleep in Tennessee pajamas. You know, he even bet me that Tennessee, at the start of the season, one cigar from Sanctuary Cigars would be the national champions. Now we got him in suicide watch.
You should have taken that cigar he was smoking. Like that mid-range totobacco.
I mean, Jesus Christ. Granted, Saban went to halftime, made some comments, and they came out a whole different day. Yeah, totally different. Quarterback looked like he was pristine, like he was the best thing since peanut butter and jelly. But overall, I'm still not happy because this is Alabama.
But I think they're more like you said, I think they kind of survey the land the first half, go in, and make their adjustment the second half. And I feel like that's the sign of a good coaching staff. And so Alabama's one of those teams, like, man, you can't kick field goals against them in the first half. You got to score touchdowns and put them away. Because what we do know, just like the Texas game, even though they lost again, they're coming back the second half. And they're going to have a different game plan in the second half. So I actually think they're in a good spot. You know, Georgia got some injuries. Starting to kind of pick Bama and try to win the SEC and make the college football playoff. I like what Bama is.
Now, don't get me wrong. I like what Bama is. However, I don't like where the AP poll and the conference have picked them as far as placing them in the rankings. It's almost as if they're trying to shoo Alabama out of the talks. I mean, there's been a lot of shakeup in the top five. A lot of shakeup. I mean, granted, Michigan, another one of my teams, is pulling through and making us look good. They're playing on all cylinders, although we're not really focused on Michigan right now. But that segues into another devastating game In my case, I chose Penn State versus Ohio.
Why?
Not me, exactly.
Not me. I told you on the show. I said in big games like this, you need stars.
Yeah.
Penn State has players,
No stars.
no stars. The thing about Franklin can go out and recruit a top 10 recruiting class. But when you look at those guys in that top 10 recruiting class, there's no Marvin Harrison Jr. You don't have that guy. You need that guy when the game is on the line. You need that guy. As you said, you don't like for a quarterback to be your number one guy. But if your quarterback gonna be your number one guy, your quarterback got to be like what Tennessee's quarterback was last year, or what Cam Newton was for Auburn. He got to be that guy that go to the team and say, "Hey man, no matter what, it's on my back. Y'all follow me, and I'm gonna get you there." And he got to go out there and physically do it. Penn State doesn't have that guy. They need that guy.
And then again, at the end of the day, man, I'm starting to look at James Franklin like, man, he a pretender. And they beat all the other teams, but every time they play Ohio State, Michigan, each one is 8.
Yeah,
I think they paid him close to $100 million. You're right. That ain't no good return on my investment.
None, not at all. Not at
That's
all.
ridiculous.
It's awful. You know, we're going to take a quick break. We're broadcasting live from Sanctuary Cigars. Sanctuary Cigars is holding a cigar event tomorrow night from 5 to 9, put on by Monte Cristo. So take advantage. Come on out if you want. I have an opportunity to talk to these two guys.
I'll be signing autographs.
And with that being said, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back after these messages.
This one's for the builders, the people who build this country, the people who get up every day and know it's a good day to make things better. This is the truck they've always trusted, built like never before. Built for those who know that towing and torque and connectivity aren't truck ad cliches. They're things they use to make a living. It's for those who know that available features like active camera views and head-up display aren't just options. That towing innovations are way more than features. They're tools that see things differently. Built to improve how things will be built. Roads, bridges, schools, stadiums, with onboard scales to weigh whatever heavy thing you have before you build whatever heavy thing we need. With up to 2 kilowatts of Pro Power onboard to power miter saws, jackhammers, and tailgates where no one has ever tailgated before. And the truck is just the start. With Ford Pro Telematics that receive scheduled maintenance recommendations ahead of time, and a new upfit integration system, giving you productivity tools to fit your business. From a few contractors to the thousands of farmers responsible for the butter we put on our toast every morning. Yeah, this one's for the builders. The all-new 2023 Ford Super Duty.
One day, you might realize it's time to switch things up.
Thank you.
When your sisters come to town and you say,
It's on me.
"Crushed it, little bro." When your friends come over to watch the game. No, when you go to the game. Total power move. When you realize your vacation days won't use themselves and it's time for an out of office. Way out. When you're with Amex, it's never a question of if you'll make it happen. It's when.
And we're back. You're listening to Fans Sports Preview, brought to you by Fans for the Fans. We're broadcasting live from Sanctuary Cigars right here in Montgomery, Alabama. And again, I want to make an announcement. Sanctuary Cigars is having an event tomorrow night, Friday, October 27th from 5 to 9. The event will be hosted or put on by Monte Cristo Cigars. So come on out, partake in some of the events. There's a lot of giveaways being provided to those who make some significant purchases. And you also have an opportunity to talk to Jamal Cooper and also Anthony Edwards. I highly suggest you take what Anthony says with a grain of salt and research every bit of it. Cooper. Is that not a good notice to our fans?
Yes.
Fact check.
Facts.
Fact check. But hey, this week's game, we got a lot lot of big games that are, we're making our picks every week, and I think after last week, we're in a harder week this week
Yeah.
than we were last
Yes, we are.
8 weeks. This one here was really, really like wow. You got Oklahoma and Kansas, which are two tough teams, two good teams. They really know each other real good. They sit right there. But they in their conferences, they are good teams.
Right.
They evenly matched. It's hard for me to pick.
Yeah.
Although I had to be biased, because if I had to go off football acumens, again, they're equal. Defense about the same. The offense is about the same. One might have a little bit more quickness here and there, whether it be in the passing or in the running game. So I had to go with bias of being from the South, and I chose Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'm choosing Oklahoma too, because unfortunately for Kansas, I think Oklahoma had they one stinker last week that you could see up and they still pulled it out. So I think the coach will get them refocused, and I really think they're gonna go in there and push Kansas around, and Oklahoma they should win big.
I chose Oklahoma because of like you said, they do everything evenly. But I think Oklahoma do it with a little more physicality.
Yeah, they do. They do. Alabama is on a bye week, which we need, because we got to really refocus going into these next few games, because it's real tough, their schedule leading up to the Iron Bowl, and we got to be really focused. Even though Auburn has had some ups and downs, come Iron Bowl, that won't be the same Auburn for the season.
No.
So we got to be clicking on all cylinders. So get your rest, Alabama. Refocus, retool, hold my pitch in the locker room, and I know they're going to get some spark to
It
be the
is
best.
Halloween.
Another big game. Colorado versus UCLA. That's a tough one.
Now, I saw some the other night.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, the problem being, everybody been saying that everybody wants to be a part of this Colorado team, but they don't want to play football. Now, it made me question whether it should have happened or not, but Hunter and Shador, before you got a game coming up, after such a bad game, to be
At the Lakers game?
front court at the Lakers
With LeBron?
game with LeBron and Jokic, to me it just didn't look good.
What you gotta think about it? Man, you gotta take the first up in Denver, Colorado. The Jokic done won the title.
Yeah.
Of course you're gonna be at the game. They kids. It ain't like back in the day where you only can practice for so many hours anyway. It ain't like back in the day when I played, we had 3 days and practice all day. You really can't do that. I don't really take nothing into that, but I'm gonna pick UCLA because I feel like their roster is better. And Colorado suffered for the same thing USC kind of suffered from. Won a couple games early, they got the star power, they got Deion Sanders. Now they kind of coming back down to earth because their roster ain't really ready to win yet. And so I'm picking UCLA. I don't think they're ready to win. You got to think. If once next year, all those players that transferred in there, they were guys that other school didn't want.
Yeah.
Besides the quarterback and
Right.
Travis Hunter.
Right.
The rest of those guys was okay guys.
Yeah.
You got some freshmen that playing pretty good, but Deion and them actually probably about, man, I'm gonna say like 3 years away from really just sticking it to people and just winning games like this or like against Oregon and stuff like that. But I'm picking the Blue Devils.
You didn't give your pick, but you did talk
I
about
took Colorado.
You took
but
Colorado, okay.
I'm just, my feeling on it is just that I think that if you're trying to change the narrative, that doesn't change the narrative that much.
And point taken. I'm old school, and I probably will agree, but Coop always reminded me, James, times is changing.
But think about this.
The game is changing.
We worried about him in the basketball game. They riding around campus in a Rolls Royce. So think about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But watch this. I think the players, now don't get me wrong, they perform well.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, they loud. This is where I think coaching came into play last week. And everybody's saying, James, how can you doubt the prime? I doubt the prime playing one guy who came off a massive injury both ways.
Both ways.
Yep.
There was no reason whatsoever to play that man both ways.
And see, that goes back to when I say the roster ain't ready. Because think about Alabama get all those 5-stars. They don't got nobody. Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Yeah.
He ain't playing both ways
Right.
like that the whole game. They just
And
show
see,
nobody else.
You're absolutely right. And so that made me think. But then, what does that say to a player who, when Hunter was out,
He was in.
the guy stepped in?
The guy
So
stepped in.
what you do to his psyche?
The guy stepped in and played well.
And so you're telling him, fella, he's back. You ain't up to the mustard.
Yeah.
But he didn't lose those games,
No.
if you really look at it.
Yeah.
So that's where I have a problem with coaching.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I don't know what phase of that coaching, but coaching had a problem with that.
Yeah.
Team, I really like where Colorado is going. I like the exuberance that Prime has brought to the team. I think it's time to drop all the spotlight and really focus on why you're there. You're there to play football. You're not there to make stars. You're not there you're there to make a football program great again, as Trump was saying. Trump probably said, hey, make Colorado great again. I'm going to take his words this time. But that's what Prime is there for. He's on his way to doing it. And he's done it in a very, very fast time because I can honestly say, I lost a cigar because of his turnaround. I predicted 6, almost 7 losses.
But you still got to finish. You got to make a bowl game.
You're right.
You got to at least make a bowl game. They got to at least get 2 more W's. You got to make a bowl game.
I think you can get them 2. I think you can get 1 this week. But I think that what you're going to have to work on from now on out is you're going to have to change some of what you got going on. I think you gave players a little bit too much rope.
Yeah.
You had to do some things to get guys in there. You got them in there. But now you're going to have to take away some of the rope. You win championships off of discipline.
Yeah.
If you have an undisciplined team, that's not going to win a championship. And right now, they're not a very disciplined team, I don't think.
Now, see, I analyze the game a lot different than a lot of other people. And I'm going to quote him, not exactly, but you'll remember this quote. When he was questioned by, it could have been 60 Minutes or some other guy, he said, Deion, who do you think is the #1 best coach in college football right now? Deion said, do you think I'm going to name somebody else? Of course I'm going to say Prime. However, I have a great deal of respect and love for Nick Saban. When he opened his mouth, I'd take out my handbook. And I don't think, this is me, that if he did listen to Nick, the stuff that those players are doing off the field or behind practice, I don't think would be happening.
No, it would be.
And I honestly think that if he did discipline, put solid structure in that Colorado team, they could be a real force to reckon with. I think they really could.
Because you got to treat it like, almost like a child,
Yeah.
Once the child do something he's supposed to do, then he doesn't do a little something else, you give him something. But like, man, you lose, and then we still got all these people coming in. It's time to close practice down.
Yeah.
We need to get back right. Yeah.
Well, it goes to trash talking, then a celebrator. If you're a trash talker and you're a celebrator, there's a lot of control that you have to play with. I have to play with a lot more control than the guy who's not talking. Because I have to be able to talk, then turn around and back up that talk. And if I'm not backing up that talk, then I have to learn how to shut up and start playing a different way. And I don't think some of these guys understand that. I think these guys understand that, hey man, we Colorado, we can talk, we can do this, we can do that. But they don't understand that while you talking, this guy ready to punch you in the mouth. And if he punch you in the mouth, you got to be ready for it. And you got to be ready to come back with something. And it's not happening. You gotta stop talking and put some action out there. And that's what somebody need to tell him.
Right.
Deion, as he said in his career, he never talked against the guy. He told the guy what he was gonna do to him, but he never talked against the guy. You got guys out there on the field right now for Colorado talking against guys, but they're not beating them.
Right.
And that's a bad situation.
Yeah, you're right. You know, the next team that we're going to talk about is almost balanced as well. When you look at their playing careers at the start of the season to where they're at now, you're going to be like, wow, James, you really brought out a mirror. Tennessee versus Kentucky.
Yeah.
Lord, two teams that quit.
Think about it. The start of the season, man, it's like, wow, Kentucky going to beat Georgia the way they're playing. What happened? They didn't. Tennessee going to beat Georgia. And right now, we got two balanced teams. We don't even know who to pick.
I picked Tennessee.
You did?
But I think I'm going to lose it. Because, I picked Tennessee. Kentucky quit the last 2 weeks in a row, so I couldn't pick Kentucky.
After that beating that Kentucky took from Georgia, it made me reassess my fanship. It really did. Now, remember this, Coop? Last year, Kentucky was playing Florida Gators. I was the only person that chose them.
Yeah.
Didn't I win a cigar?
You did.
Man, I was on class 9. You know, I thought I was the #1. Matter of fact, they brought a Learjet for my head. I was happy. Kentucky had really turned it around and started the season. It looked good.
Yeah.
Man, whatever Georgia did to them, they haven't recovered.
Yeah.
It's like
it's like I knew it was those when they coaches up there, man, singing that sad song about we need more money to buy better players.
Oh,
and that's right then. I would never, ever pick them again. So I'm picking Tennessee.
Somebody needs to tell these coaches we're at a different day. Gone are the day where a coach can stand up in front of guys and ignite average guys and go out and beat.
So you saying the cheesing is a joke?
The cheesing is a joke right now. With NIL, and if I'm Hugh Freeze, I could go buy five stars. The cheesing commercial is a joke right now. I mean, I think we need to tell these coaches. You go up against Georgia, Bowers, what's the quarterback, the 5-star quarterback. Then you got another 4-star quarterback behind. Then you go to the offensive line, 5-star at the 5-star. The defensive line, 5-star at the 5-star. You're not gonna beat these guys with a speech.
Well,
you barely gonna beat them with a bat. But I mean, you go with a speech.
I'm gonna be honest with you. This was a hard pick. I had to pick a team, and I honestly don't even know why I chose Kentucky over Tennessee. And I think the only reason I did it is to just get at Bruce.
Get at Bruce.
That's it. But think about it. Both of them are playing equal.
Yeah.
They just there. They're just there to be in the team's way.
About it. Kentucky did. I mean, Tennessee, they ain't lay down to get them down.
No, they did.
They ain't lay. So
no, don't get me wrong. No.
Yeah.
Tennessee
Like
did not
Kentucky
lay
down
down
to get Georgia.
Yeah, they did.
Down to
They
get
did.
Georgia.
Yeah. But man, it's gonna be a night. You know, you got South Carolina and Texas A&M, and I gotta say this: if anybody sparked me, it was South Carolina because of the way they played Georgia. South Carolina has actually played almost every game consistently, even though they lose them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They come out there, they give it a fight. Look at the play against Missouri. Now they got Texas A&M, who actually has been doing, because South Carolina has been consistent. Texas A&M is up and down, up and down. We don't know what Texas A&M we have. Give me your perspective.
Man, I'm picking Texas A&M.
Well, of course I was gonna pick them. Even
No face
though
to
they're going up and down. I mean, I picked them too.
It's just like, man, South Carolina had that miracle year last year, and they kind of back down again this year, even though they play tough. They just don't play tough enough. And I'm expecting Texas A&M to take out a couple of weeks of frustration against those guys.
Woo! Yeah, after the brutal beating they took last week, yeah, they're gonna take out some frustration. What's your
I took South Carolina. The reason why I took South Carolina, sooner or later this season, we're going to get that big game out of South Carolina.
Yeah.
Their quarterback is going to give us the reason to say that he's going to be an NFL quarterback. He's been playing well, but he's going to give us that complete game. 1 week, and I think it's going to be this week. I think Jimbo going to blow one.
You know what? I'm going to say it like this. I think you looked at my picks and said, I'm going against James. That might be that one game that turned your percentage around to where you can leapfrog me. South Carolina, Tennessee. We're gonna make a note on that.
Yeah.
Because I think we all lost about the same
We did.
last week.
We did.
Probably one of the first times in our in 8 weeks that we all tied with the same amount of losses, including Dwayne. It was just
That was a
unrealistic.
miracle that Dwayne stayed in.
Yeah, yeah. But this game, even though I chose Texas A&M,
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. I know what type of South Carolina got coming in the game. It's Texas A&M. I don't know who's coming in. I don't know what they're gonna do. There's no need to talk about Georgia and Florida.
No, that's gonna be a brutal beating.
Georgia's literally on their way until whoever wins that Iron Bowl and face them again.
The only thing I say, tell the wide receiver for Florida to put some full pants on. Quit wearing them Daisy Dukes out there.
I'm not going there. Florida need to wake up and help the coach out because I don't think he's going to have another year at the rate he's playing. So, fellas, we gave our perspectives. If you want to really see how we're doing, please visit 1300WTLS.com. All of our picks are there along with a host of other fans that are picking their games. You can see the percentage. Right now, Jamal Cooper is number 1. James Thomas is number 2. The only reason I allow Jamal to win is because this is fans' perspective. Brought to you by fans for the fans, not a broadcaster. So I have to let a fan get ahead. And the only reason he didn't get ahead because it's Anthony. We still trying to fact check his choice.
Well, listen to some folks.
Give us some excuses. We want to thank you for tuning in on 1300 WTLS, 94.7 AM, 106.9 FM, and those who are viewing live on tellitlikeitis.com. Until next week, this is Fan Sports Preview, brought to you by the fans. Take care.